Welcome student. Today I will begin with chapter 5 of your eco application, that is nature and classification of economy. In this chapter we will focus on the three types of economic system, that is capitalist economy, socialist economy and mixed economy. So let's begin. What is an economic system? It is an organized way in which a state or nation allocates its resources and distributes goods and services in the national community. So first is capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system in which the means of production are privately owned and operated for profit, usually in competitive markets. In other words, an economic system in which investment in and ownership of the means of production, distribution and exchange of wealth is made and maintained chiefly by private individuals or corporations. I move on to the features of this type of economy. First is centralized to decentralized system. Second, authoritarianism to representative democracy. Free flow of resources. People strive for self-interest in free market. Beneficial for society based on the two forces of the market, that is demand and supply. Monopoly to competitiveness, that is there is cutthroat competition in this type of economy. Self-sufficiency to international interdependence. Producer interest to customer power. In this slide you can see a few examples of capitalist economy. United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, Austria, Ireland, Sweden, Switzerland and Israel. A few facts about United States. Americans are known to be risk takers and capital makers. In the US, it is possible to begin a business of humble means and expand it to grow into a conglomerate business model for people wanting to start a new business. Capitalism allows private ownership to spur production of goods and allows the private owner to keep and track profits for what sells. Next slide is about benefits of capitalist economy or capitalism. In years 1000 to 1820, world economy grew sixfold. In years 1820 to 1998, world economy grew 50-fold. In this type of economy, it provides choice to customers, provides valuable goods and services. Capitalism actively rewards positive traits like hard work. That means in a capitalist economy, there is much value of hard work and it is considered as a positive trait. Similarly, it punishes negative traits such as laziness and theft. If you are lazy and if you have this theft mentality, then you lag behind. Narrows the gap between common person and wealthy. That means the rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer. So there is a huge gap between the common people and the wealthy people. Provides opportunity to realize dreams and desires. Capitalist society usually do not have large black markets. Built on democracy. It's a system where everything is to the people, for the people and by the people. And social good. So whatever done in a capitalism or capitalist economy, it is for the social cause. Next, we move on to major limitations of capitalist economy. Downfall of work ethics, free market plus self-interest, accumulation of wealth. I already told you about that. In this type of economy, rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer. That means the larger concentration of wealth is in the hands of rich people. Encourages inequality in the society, business lobbying with government, monopolistic tendency, human resource exploitation, results in great disparities, great differences between income of people owing the capital resource and others. Next, I move on to socialism or socialist economy. Collective ownership and democratic control of the material means of production by the workers and the people. Socialism is a term applied to an economic system in which property is held in common and not individually. That means whatever resources are there, it belongs to the entire country. And relationships are governed by the political hierarchy. Common ownership doesn't mean decisions are made collectively. However, instead, individuals in positions of authority make decisions in the name of the collective group. So, in socialist economy, there is an organized body which is known as planning authority. So, the decision taker is the planning authority on behalf of the common people. Socialists argue that socialism would allow for wealth to be distributed based on how much one contributes to society as opposed to how much capital one holds. So in a socialism or socialist economy, the major factor is the contribution of an individual towards the society. The individual who contributes more to the society, the share of resources goes maximum to that individual. And the individual who contributes less, the resources shared are less. It doesn't depend on how much capital you hold. A primary goal of socialism is social equality and distribution of wealth based on one's contribution to society, and an economic arrangement that would serve the interest of society as a whole. Few examples you can see in the slide: China, Denmark, Finland, Netherlands, Canada, Sweden, Norway, Ireland and New Zealand. They are the example of socialist economy. Socialism as we know it today most commonly refers to market socialism, which involves individual market exchanges organized by collective planning. Difference between socialism and communism is that communists directly oppose the concept of capitalism, an economic system in which production is controlled by private interest. Socialists, on the other hand, believe socialism can exist within a capitalist society. So, example about China. In China, the government manages and controls the economy. Many of the domestic companies are owned and run by government. Recently, the Chinese economy has become more geared towards capitalism but is still officially socialist. Life in China remains relatively less stressful and more relaxed than life in capitalist countries like America. Next, I move on to features of socialism. First is social ownership, or the means of production and the resources are owned by the society. Existence of public sector. Decisive role of economic planning. I told you there is an organized body of decision makers, that is the planning authority. Production guided by social benefits, and abolition of exploitation of labor, as the distribution of wealth or the resources of the country is equal based on the contribution to the society. Next, I move on to some benefits of socialist economy. Better salaries, stable environment, eliminates poverty, no rich, no poor, everyone is equal. Better products, fulfill survival needs, opportunity for citizens to explore non-economically productive pursuits. So, from this we come to know that to some extent socialist economy is better. Next, I move on to limitations of socialist economy. First is distorted price signals, suppression of economic democracy. If someone is having resources, so in this type of democracy, you cannot utilize that without the permission of the government. Slow technological advancement and minimize self-management. And the last is reduced incentives.